So Jesse asked me to help do some hosting and the interviewing, and I'm gonna do my best to make him regret that decision. So yeah, I invited Justin because I met Justin at was it SVVR? Was the first time we met?
Yeah, I believe so. But no, it was. I think honestly, it was down in San Francisco for GDC at the Mixer.
Right, but did I meet you at the Mixer first or at GDC? Because I think I saw you. Anyways, doesn't matter. We were there at the same time, and I saw your awesome demo. I've obviously tried Proton Pulse. I think most people here, if everybody has tried it. One of the better, one of the very top games for VR that I played. And I know you've got a lot of stuff brewing, and why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, on this side of the screen, there's a crazy number of monitors facing me. I'm in the middle of crunch for a big reveal coming up here pretty soon. And good news is that the demo from a year ago, Proton Pulse, will be making a return as well. So I finally got that out of danger, and it's good to be able to say that it's mine again. So I'm quite happy about that. As far as anything beyond that, I'm just insanely focused on what I'm doing right now. So it's really kind of hard to see beyond the next week or two at this point, but you know how it is.
Are you doing more than a DK2 update, or and adding features for Proton Pulse?
There are a few things coming in line for that project. Technically, I wrapped that up last March as far as the feature set goes. But as more and more hardware becomes available to the public, I am looking at a few solutions for additional gameplay modes and such.
What was the issue you were saying that you were worried about losing the original IP? I didn't hear about that. I don't know if it was public though.
Well, there's some information coming out on that soon, and it's nothing. There's no huge conspiracy or anything.
No, we're seeing you as guest.
Watch out for that butterfly, it's poisonous.
It's like every time you speak, I hit maybe every fifth or sixth word.
You might be a little too far away.
You might also want to try rejoining just to see if that cleans things up a bit.
So I have to admit, I don't know what I look like right now. I set up this avatar pretty quickly today, so I'm not sure if there's any head tracking or what's glitchy or not since I'm in first person
here.
It
looks wonderful, Justin. It's probably one of the coolest avatars I've seen in here. Like, I just want to come stare at you in detail.
Good, man.
It looks great. Really.
The head tracking is working as well.
I want an animation to turn it into like a Gundam or a mech or something. Like things on the back.
Gundam!
So Justin, what's your background, I guess, in the whole gaming industry, and how did you get into, how did you decide to make your first demo and whatnot?
I've been in the gaming industry for about 10 years now. I started off at PlayStation back in 2005, just as the PSP first came out, and I worked on a number of titles as a special effects artist, mainly. Last one I worked on was, or the last one that shipped, I should say, was Uncharted for the Vita.
Oh, nice.
I did all of the particle effects for that.
Uninstall and reinstall, and that's probably how my name got lost.
But yeah, every single particle effect in Uncharted was mine, and about 60% or so of the object animation. So, but then the Oculus Rift came, and like I've been waiting, honestly, for a decent VR solution since 1991 when I was first promised it was coming. And I've had my number of headsets and a number of disappointments followed by those. But it wasn't so much that I was disappointed, it's just I couldn't convince anybody around me that it was cool. It was still gimmicky. And then once the Oculus showed up at my front door, all of the people, the naysayers specifically, just instantly changed their message. It was quite fascinating. But other than that, right now, like I said, I'm neck deep in production. I've got so many toys on this side right now, and with each one is a commitment. So I've been working with Mio and Leap Motion, and when they send you something, they obviously expect results, and I've got so many results that I have to deliver on over the next month or so. It's getting crazy.
So you are working on other products, or I guess other software then that's not released yet that you're in the next coming weeks we'll hear about?
More or less, I'm working on ways to showcase what they have to offer in software that I am bringing to the public. So it's kind of this symbiosis thing where if their product fits what I'm kind of aiming for, then I'll talk to them and see where things are going. And more often than the less, they'll send me the tools I need to check it out. I'll do some initial tests and R&D on it, and then send them feedback and video clips of how things are going. But right now, I'm mostly focused on pure head-mounted display controls and visuals and gameplay and stuff like that. So branching out to accessories and stuff has been put on the back burner to some degree.
Gotcha. What are your thoughts on the Mayo? I just got a update from them that they're shipping soon. It's been such a long time, but I haven't really seen much, on it.
Well, I have their prototype, but it's significantly different from their latest revision, and it pretty much did what I needed to do right away. They were very, very helpful in support. There are a few things that I wasn't quite able to sort out, but at the same time, they were developing hardware and the software for it, and that's really difficult, let alone me poking them and going like, hey, I can't get this working and such. So the only thing I got to worry about now is install user base and how people take to it, because there is a bit of, kind of like the Sixth Sense Razer and such. There's calibration set up, and sometimes there's various other things that prevent people from digging it out and plugging it in anymore. So, it's not bad, but I'd have to reserve judgment to see their latest revision on the hardware.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for that update.
Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at everybody's avatars right now, making sure G-Man's not standing behind me.
Kyle's
Yeah.
got a new one though.
Greetings, Kyle.
Hello, hello.
Whoa. Hey there.
You do? Because
Hey, Kyle.
I had done the /SN. Let me try it. Should I try it again?
I see you.
I see your name now.
Yeah,
I see
you
your
just
name
up
now.
one.
So Justin, are you still working in console game dev, like on Vita?
I am no longer working for Sony. However, I am a licensed PlayStation 4 developer now. They've been great in hooking me up on my transition. I like to have as many options available development-wise, but there's not
Do you see
anything that can
do you
prove
see the right name now?
Yes, that's when we see the right
Yep.
name. I think we do. Most people.
Yes.
What So are you full-time VR right now, or do you have another dev job on the side?
full-time.
Very nice. Living the dream.
The dream doesn't pay much, but yeah, that's fine. I knew that coming in. I like that avatar. I gotta put some particles on mine next time I come in here.
I want to see rockets shooting out of your jetpack, Justin.
Yeah, I wanna see a super like flying jet. I wanna see tricks. I really wanna see it do stuff. And the little ball thing.
So, I mean, you guys gonna be available next week as well? Because I'm gonna have a lot to share on that particular day.
Yes, I think we'll be here next Wednesday. We do Sundays and Wednesdays are our meetups.
I'll
What
be
day
a
are you
lot
gonna
more able to
release?
talk a week from now.
Well, this is Gunter to your right, and I host Virtually Incorrect, so I certainly would love to have you on talk about all this. You know, we chatted way back on Mumble before Team Metatron formed, and loved talking to you and discussing all this stuff. So it'll be
Yeah, I'm
great
not
that you're
actually
able to talk.
all that good at secrets either, so it's kind of a relief that my deadline's finally coming up.
Yeah, me too. It's hard for me. I never can keep track, and you get passionate. You just talk about what you
You know,
want to
just
talk
espionage.
about.
There's a cream for
Whoops.
that if your skin's getting dry there.
The burning, the burning.
I think it's Mullick to need a fire extinguisher.
Some preparation H.
No, Justin, what you should think about is doing a virtual press conference.
Oh, there's something neat coming for sure. Yeah. Although this would certainly be a
That's
good
fun.
facility to do something like that as well.
Well, we have our meetups on Sundays and Wednesdays, so then there's the Europeans on Monday.
Yeah, my time zone is development time zone, so I don't know which one I'm best synced up with, honestly. Probably somewhere in the other side of the planet, but.
So where are you now?
Oh, I'm in Pacific time. I'm in this dead center in Oregon, but generally I go to sleep about the time the sun is starting to rise. So.
So are you, from what I could tell, are you a Unity developer, or UE4, or a Homebrew?
Well, not Homebrew for sure, but when it comes to engines, I'm primarily Unity right now. Although I have been using Unreal for over a year now with my previous job, so I'm pretty proficient in both.
What are your thoughts on the two? It's always a big hot topic that I like to hear about.
So when it comes to the two engines, they're really tools. You go with what you know. If you had two musicians and one could play piano and the other one saxophone, you don't ask them to switch. So whatever really goes best with you. However, I do believe Unity has some work to do on their pricing structure. The competition is getting really hot with how easy it is for any one of us to get into Unreal for just $10, because it requires Unity Pro to do any VR development whatsoever. And even Adobe has been picking this up now. Anybody can get Photoshop legitimately for $10 a month versus having to go to some torrent somewhere like most college people do. So I think Unity has that to sort out. However, you know, they obviously have better numbers than I do, so there is that.
I'm hoping we get some new information from them at Unite this year. That would be nice.
Yeah, I'm going to be there as well, so I'd be happy to see any of you guys while I'm in the Seattle area.
Cool.
So when it comes down to the specifics between Unity and Unreal, as a particle guy, I absolutely prefer Unreal over Unity. But when it comes to rapidly prototyping things and getting things made real fast, then I prefer Unity. So Unreal is really more for a team than it is an individual. And so that's one of the things I like about Unity, is how streamlined and approachable it is.
Is Unity used in the games industry, like in a place like Sony, as a prototyping tool that you then take ideas out of and put into another engine? Or is there total separation of engines in even the big studios like Sony?
Sony collaborates quite a bit internally it's up to the individual studios whether or not they use those tools or use their own. As far as Unity adoption in the industry, I didn't see any about a year ago, but however that has changed. I know that there is a studio that has used Unity, but I don't really know the details behind that. Other than that, Unreal has caught a lot of attention because the PlayStation 4 is an x86 architecture now, and so being that all studios are practically teams, and it's really good at dividing up tasks within a level without overstepping bounds and such, it has caught the attention of a studio or two to use Unreal on a studio basis versus a in-house engine instead. Sorry, I get distracted real easy when I'm in VR, so I'm just kind of looking around.
Oh, not a problem. I think we all kind of do that. Especially when you got little things running around with rainbows coming out of their ass.
That's cool, but I'm absolutely terrified of the Smurf here. It's nightmare-inducing for sure.
Yeah, giant
All right, I'll
Smurf
come back
scary
with
as
something
fuck.
else.
You need to be about 6 inches tall, Kyle.
No, I think Smurfs are like 3 inches tall. That's what I modeled it under.
If I'm not
You're
mistaken,
showing up
the
as like
three apples
3
tall.
feet.
Oh, you're right. Well, back to
Yeah,
the
you're
drawing
Down
board.
here with me.
your cam's in your mouth or something like that. So Justin, we're gonna be seeing a lot more of that that avatar soon, and other products possibly.
That is the plan.
Very nice.
I really wish I
Nice
could see
style.
myself in third person right now, just to see if
You go
the reflection shaders and
Maybe
all that stuff.
You can bring the mirror avatar out.
Yeah, actually, yeah, Dark do that. Dark has a nice giant mirror avatar that comes in. He confuses everybody, but it's a nice way to look at yourself. There's also a mirror in the pad, the white spot you were in earlier. But this is a little easier since we can do it in the room.
Reverend Kyle never forgets.
No, I don't.
Hey guys, did the water just became like a mirror for you two?
I think Dark Akuma's got his
Oh.
floor mirror.
The wrong
avatar.
one.
Oh.
I've been wondering. I loaded it up, but I wasn't seeing the effect. I loaded the wrong one. Give me a second.
Okay, seems strange. Okay.
The water's a mirror. The water's a mirror. Doesn't make any sense.
So there's a second demo that you're showing at SVVR in addition to Proton Pulse. Is that something that you're allowed to talk about?
I promised Road to VR that I give them the first shot at it, honestly.
Okay.
No, it's not that. It's mostly that it's not quite ready for me to give. It's because I don't know. It's more than anything. It's based on how much I'm able to produce in the next week or so that I can reveal it. And I usually hate that kind of thing. It's just that it involves more people than just me, so I have to be mindful of how it affects them with my answers and such.
Understood.
You can come check yourself out now.
Yeah, I've got a pretty deep voice considering the model I'm using here, so just pretend I'm that guy floating above her.
So speaking of other people besides you, you are or were involved with Pushy Pixels, who are also the Cooking with Unity guys. I didn't even recognize that until today. Can you talk a little bit about your involvement with that series and with other team members, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Max from Pushy Pixels, who also does Cooking with Unity, he just left my office about a minute ago. So he's helping me out with what's going on. I've set aside a budget, and so I've personally been paying out of pocket to produce this stuff, and hopefully it's a good idea and I don't end up in a ditch somewhere later. But yeah, Max I've known him since college, honestly. We went to DigiPen at the same time, and so we both ended up at Sony in Central Oregon, and this is where he was from, and so he's been pivotal in helping me with my grasp on C# and various other things.
Do you think something like that helped a lot when you were doing your Kickstarter for Proton Pulse?
Well, the interesting thing about that is there was a lot of complications at the timing of that, which we didn't see when we launched it. So, as you guys know, there was some problems with the Kickstarter shortly afterwards, which caused some level of drama, and unfortunately, and I've been working last year to get all of that absolutely resolved, and so I can't talk about it yet, but very, very soon I can get into the nitty-gritties on that. As soon as I get the go-ahead email from the Abyss or wherever. So sorry to be so elusive on some of this stuff. Honestly, it bugs me too. It's the timing is just slightly off for me to answer everything, but you would think going independent, you could say whatever you want, but the very second you involve anybody else, you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah, how worried are you that VR development is going to wind up in some kind of legal quagmire, just as an industry? I mean, there are potential patent suits out there. There are potential people trying to use intellectual property that they don't even know is restricted. Do you think that's going to be a problem for VR developers, more so than it's already a problem for indie developers of other games?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that, I mean, that really applies to game development in general. And the more attention you get, the more prevalent you are to being attacked on things like that. And so VR is a hot topic right now. Patents are flying everywhere, and there are some old ones and some new ones and such. And, you know, it's one of those things. I saw that kind of thing when I was at Sony all the time, where Sony would get sued for making somebody's lips move in a cinematic procedurally instead of through keyframes. They were getting sued for something as silly and trivial as that. And it's almost maddening seeing game development hindered by that thought. So I'm taking the more naive approach by make something cool, and hopefully the world won't have a problem with it.
Hopefully it works out for you and the rest of us.
Yeah, see, as far as being worried about the future of VR is, I'm here primarily for my my own interest. So I like making games, I like being in VR, and as far as I'm concerned, VR has already succeeded in my case. So I've got my headset, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it's certainly bigger than I thought it was going to be when I ordered my DK1 so long ago.
Sorry, I gotta watch these dancing cats. It's really important.
I have not seen the dancing cats yet. This is quite interesting. So, Justin, or did you say you were rocking a DK2 or something similar? Or
yeah, I'm rocking I've been asked not to be specific, so.
Of course.
So I'm rocking a prototype positional 1080p OLED. Yeah. So I think they're starting to ship those out. What? This week?
I think they said next
week.
Sometime
week.
Yeah, they just delayed them today till next week.
So is it, does it look nice? I haven't seen VRChat and anything below Pixel Island yet.
Well, I can tell you, I can see the whiskers on these cats. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I can't see whiskers. That's exciting. And did you ever get sick in the DK one? Because that's an issue that I get if I move my head too much, and I was hoping the DK2 fixes that. It kind of makes me sad whenever I have to take off my headset because I get nauseous.
As far as the nausea goes, I don't really experience that. I have to be perfectly honest here. There are so many VR demos out there, and I've been asked a number of times, have you tried this or have you tried that? And most of my time, a vast majority of my time, is making stuff and not trying out other stuff, which is probably somewhat of a detriment to what I make. However, as far as motion sickness goes, I got the Razer Hydra, and there was this ball, and I kept dropping it, so I'd have to bend down in real life to pick it up. But obviously, there was no positional data, and I started to get a little nauseous from that. But
the head tracking definitely helps with that. The positional tracking.
yeah, and I mean, there's no positional tracking in here, so
yeah.
it has to be built in. But the positional tracking on a development side introduces a lot of challenges. So UI elements now have to be, I mean, I was working on a demo, and I passed it to the guy behind me who was standing behind me, and all the UI elements were just below him. You know, it's one of those things that it takes more time to convert and to prepare and to make things for DK2 than I initially thought, but it's going to be worth it. Absolutely.
So are the biggest humps, do you think, like the UI stuff, or like that? What have you seen that's been, I guess, most annoying to have to rig up? Or any caveats?
Well, it's just that it's different. So I've gotten so used to use the DK1 that I know which functions to call for reorienting the head tracking and various other things. And I kind of had to relearn how their SDK worked for this revision. But once that was down, then it became a non-issue, and things are running really smooth right now. So I'm quite happy about that. On Oculus' side, they've been crazy busy because, like the other hardware vendors, they're making software and hardware at the same time that works together and releasing to the public. And that, I got to tell you, that's not easy.
Nice. I'm looking forward to getting that DK2 stuff working in here. I guess also, what is it, I guess, I don't know how many developers, you know, got the DK2 previous, or whatever, the 1080 model, we're not supposed to talk about, previous to the actual orders. What does one have to do to get on Oculus's list to help them test those out? Did you know somebody there, or just the stuff you were doing lent itself to that, or?
Well, it was, going back to my previous topic here, is that when you when you get something like that, when you get privileged and honored with something like that, they expect that you don't just sit around or do anything. Like nobody, I'm not saying anybody in specific, but they expect really, really big results all the time, and which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because they're sending hardware in advance. That's an investment and a risk and various other things. So it's one of those things where I'm not entirely sure how they determine which development projects to go in for what, but I do know that working with those guys, they're really, really, really busy. And so I think I honestly just got the luck of a draw on when I got their attention, because I was knocking on their door back in last September when the proton pulse thing was going down on my options. So yeah, it's one of those things where there's just so much going on over there, it's really impossible for them to keep track of everything. And so it's not that I'm more dedicated developer or anything like that than anybody else. They don't really play favorites like that. It's just there's just so much noise going on over there. I imagine it is a timing thing more than anything.
Gotcha. Cool.
I think they also have an awesometer, right? Like if you are sufficiently awesome, you will get to talk to them more than somebody who is just screwing around.
Well, I somehow tricked them into that one. It's crazy though. I mean, honestly, when I went to GDC and SVVR and such, I'd get approached by somebody and like, oh, what have you done? And they'd see my badge, or I'd say I worked on Proton Pulse, and more often than not, their face would just change. Like their eyes would get wide and like, oh, I know what you've worked on, and it's somewhat of a surreal experience because I've been working on games for the last 10 years, but I never could say Uncharted for Vita is my game. It's like, no, I contributed a small part to make that game complete. But it's weird. It's when I started seeing YouTube videos go up on Proton Pulse and other people reviewing the demo, it was just very, very surreal. Now I look at the demo footage and I'm like, ooh, that's so out of date. I really wish I could show you guys where it is now, but that'll be coming soon enough, so not too worried.
Good, we're definitely excited to see what you have to show.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous model.
Are you waiting for the cat to dance
Catron.
again?
Meow.
You could jump.
No, I'm just looking at all the whiskers and stuff.
I can't see any whiskers. Oh, no, I see them. Gotta get up in there. I'm looking up, Trevor, where's your butthole? Where's the shark butthole?
That's a good question. Not really sure. I know I've got two penises though.
Do you?
The sharks
Is that-
have two penises.
Is that a thing with sharks? I wish I had some positional tracking so I can get up under there. But I can't. In a couple weeks. Next week.
I'm curious, Justin, is the device that you are wearing right now have positional tracking?
It does, but not in the software. So this was not made with the latest SDK that takes that into account.
Well,
So-
I'm curious, have you gone and played with the Couch Knights yet?
Hold that thought. I do have positional tracking. I just wasn't in the FOV of the camera. Holy crap, that's cool.
You have positional tracking?
What? Wow.
Yes, sir, I do.
Huh?
Huh?
Let's see, is that supposed to happen?
This is 3.1.
That is, you know, we use some of their offset data to offset the eyes from the neck. If they put it in there, then maybe.
Working as designed.
Yeah, when I leaned in to look at the shark nose, it got closer. I'm like, cool.
Whoa.
We support DK2. Woohoo!
Yes, I knew that the whole time. This wasn't an accident, yeah.
Hurry, put it on Reddit. Now supporting DK2.
The Forest that released earlier kind of looks a little more interesting now.
But I noticed that, okay, so when you lean forward, then the model itself is not,
Yeah, lean
like,
forward.
leaning forward.
Alright, I'm gonna lean forward as far as it'll let me.
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
It shouldn't do anything there.
Yeah, I don't think it's applying any motion.
But the camera's
No.
moving?
Cool though, yeah.
Yep, the camera's moving.
That should be an easy fix. That's pretty neat.
Well,
That's
if the
not an
camera's
easy
moving,
fix.
you can just...
That's the hard
No,
fix.
you just...
It's a
No,
hard
you
fix?
child the head.
No,
to
dude,
the
you just
camera, no big
move
deal.
the ball that's attached to the head look script and just attach to the where the camera's looking to move with the camera.
But that won't move the head. That'll just change where it faces.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
move my
I could hack
my
it
camera
together.
to the guy behind me, flying above me. So.
Ooh, that would be neat. It'd be cool to have like a dual avatar, so it's like two people attached to one. Like the bottom person controls walking, which I guess would get you nauseous, but...
Yeah, I think that would make me sick.
It'd be like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster.
So, do you guys ever see Bruce or Ben from Roads VR or anybody else like that as well in here? I'm trying to gather who visits.
Ben does not come to the chats. He lets me do all that for Road to VR. And Bruce makes his way in here on occasion, but not. I don't know.
Yeah, he was
probably
in
see
a
more of
week
him
and a
now.
half ago or so for a little while after it. Like, just at the end of the stream, he came in to share some of it.
So you know how Road to VR is doing this. We're doing this thing in Rift Max on Friday. I think it was the first time Ben had been in Rift Max when we tested it last night. So yeah, I don't think he shows up to these things often.
Yeah, this is my first time in here, honestly. I feel kind of guilty about that.
Well, you're here now, and that makes up for it all.
Exactly.
That's okay. I haven't played your Proton Pulse in a long time, so we're even.
I almost came in as a giant MOI head with a proton rotating around it. That would have been fun.
Yeah, but you should have been able to like shoot little balls at us. That'd be neat. So do you work out of? You said you work out of an office. You working out of your house, or you actually have an office with your team and whatnot?
I am working currently in a room dedicated to development for VR and gaming stuff, but technically it is part of my house. But if I call it a room, it's a
That's all you need.
it's good
You got your VR room. You got all your stuff in there. Hey, look who decided to show up. Speak of the devil.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey.
Hey.
He's always looking to the left.
Bruce!
Yeah, seriously. I want to change your name though.
That's like incredible timing.
They were. I'm over here.
Yeah, we mentioned his name and he pops in.
Is that
You
all
gotta
it
say it
takes?
3 times. That's
You
the
just have
trick.
to mention his name?
Just like Beetlejuice, man. Just like Beetlejuice, bro.
Apparently so.
Oh,
Come.
man.
Hey. So I was at work, and I was like, oh, let me check out this Reddit post. Oh, yeah, it's Wednesday. Let me grab a Rift. Haha. And I'm here.
There are just hundreds of them laying around.
Yeah, they're just all over the place.
The giant box called the Rift box, and they're just piled up.
Yeah, like swim in it every now and then. Pretty good.
So are you full time at that new VR job now?
Yeah, I'm done with that camp situation. I'm full-time developer relations over here at AltSpace.
Congrats to you, sir.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I'd give you a high five, but my Razer Hydra's in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, so that's the only reason you can't give him a high five.
I can't wait to high-five you, buddy. What have you been talking
I
about
hope
here?
pretty soon.
Actually, I was just discussing who comes here. Where's Bruce? And then you just showed up. It was interesting.
Perfect.
Hello guys, I'm late too. Thank you to Rubik for letting me know. I was too busy.
Olivier, hello.
Olivier.
Bonsoir.
Bonjour.
And now we just
Working
need
too
Palmer to pop in. His usual thing.
Palmer lucky.
Worm Slayer, that is adorable.
I know, isn't that awesome?
So awesome.
Made especially for VRChat last dev meeting.
Yes, we've been playing with some particles lately.
Very cool.
Trails.
Very cool.
That's a good use of them. Some people have been abusing them.
I wasn't sure what I could get away with, so I kept it pretty light, but now that I've seen what I can get away with, I might come back a little more crazy next time.
No, please do. Last week, a couple weeks ago, we had a giant robot. No, it wasn't a giant robot. It was giant. Yeah, the Iron Giant versus giant pedo bear. It was quite the showdown.
My money's on Pedo Bear. That guy's freaky.
So Michael Lenzi is here?
Yeah.
There he is.
Hey, hello, it's Olivier.
Olivier, how are you?
Good, and you? Nice
Haven't
to see
seen
you
the
here.
fire in VR
Me
yet.
too.
Dude, I should hook
It's
you up
easier
with
to
my
meet.
fire shader.
Oh yeah?
You're a fire shader master.
Cool.
Dude, yeah, no, I was, that was my primary function at my full-time job, so,
Oh, you made fire?
oh yeah, I was the special effects guy.
Well, that would be awesome if you could do that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do to everybody, but it's a procedurally generated, low-hit shader that you can apply to geometry or particles, whatever you want. But it's crazy efficient, but holy crap, it looks good. It's based on the same technique that Naughty Dog used for Uncharted.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, if you ever feel like throwing together a room for VRChat and throwing some nice custom special effects, you know, we wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, I might have to throw together some a scene here or two. That'd be great. I'll probably just pull something out of the new version of Proton at this if I wanted something quick, but dude, you just totally ran over that butterfly. There it is.
He was smiling at it. He won't stop smiling. Stop it.
I can't stop smiling. I'm stuck.
Just so happy to be here.
So has anybody gotten any shipment confirmations or anything from Oculus?
Sadly, yes.
Yes, you kid.
No, nothing yet. Did sign up
They
for
said
Oculus
today that
Share
they're-
though. I'm fist
Yeah,
pumping,
they
but no
said
one
that-
can see me. Sorry.
Dude, when I was at go ahead.
They said today that they were delaying shipment until next week.
Yeah, I was talking to Palmer the other day, and I got the distinct impression that it is crazy crunch over there right now. So I would certainly give those guys as much slack as possible. Although I remember hitting refresh like every second for the DK1 to ship out and reach my door. You know,
Yeah.
we were all there.
Hey, do other people, if you bring up your console right now, and by pressing the tilde key, can you like type in a command? Does it output stuff or does it not output stuff?
I had trouble with the output earlier. It worked like the first time, but that was it.
No, nothing is the best.
Nope.
Okay, good to know. I've noticed that a few times, but I gotta figure out what's going on. It's probably something stupid.
So, Bruce, you saving me a slot for next Sunday?
Absolutely. No question.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and play Zelda 64 now. This is nuts.
Exactly.
This is Dr. Kuma's doing. He is the master of our SDK, making all sorts of crazy cat avatars and Zelda rooms.
So sweet.
Dancing cat avatar.
there he goes. Dr. Kuma dancing it up. Dancing cat person.
I mean, the very first thing I did coming in here was to check for authenticity through that window to make sure the Mario 64 stuff was still there.
Yeah, with a little bit of extra. I made sure to put my extra Easter egg in there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I don't see the Barbara Streisand Ganondorf through that window, so...
Yeah, that I didn't quite get around to. But there is someone else hiding in here.
Who is it?
Rev, are you a land shark or a normal shark? Or a flying shark?
I am a land shark for right now.
You're supposed to be like in the ground with like your fin coming out. Come on, man.
So I'm mid jump, is what it is.
Ah, okay.
Jump. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm using this to to push the new game, the Teddy Bears versus Land Sharks 2, the Sharkening. This is just advertisement.
Please use that pedo shark that Dark Akuma put together. That's the most terrifying
I feel
thing
like
ever.
I'm going to have to. The story is shaping up very nicely. I'm going to start working on it very, very soon. And I can always put pedo shark in the game somewhere, I assure you.
Which version, the mock-up or the theory I posted about after?
Well, either one is fine by me. As long if somebody gives me the asset, I will gladly put it in the game somewhere.
Awesome. I want to apply to be voice talent for this epic title.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, we're gonna have to. We're gonna make this the most absurd VR game ever made. The most ridiculous thing we could possibly do.
I don't know, dude. There's been some weird stuff out there. That
Japanese
it-
side.
Yeah, I think
Red
Bruce did like the hundred horrors building, where like each elevator had like a different horror. You remember that?
Yeah, the 100 floors of
100
horror that
floors
only
of
had 8
horror.
floors.
That was.
Still update, I think.
I think
Sorry, I'm allergic to rainbows.
Rev Cal's real goal here is to climb up the WTF games list.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to be number one.
Yes.
Actually, it's funny though. I was talking to my oldest daughter about the story, and she says, "Actually, that sounds like it would be a really fun game." And I went, "Damn it, back to the drawing board."
I have a VR side project that I'm working on with Jake Kaufman. He's also known as He's a famous musician, chiptuner guy. Recently, he did the soundtrack for Shovel Knight and the new DuckTales and Double Dragon Neon and various other games. But his very first project that he made on his own was called Dick Hand. And I'm like, dude, I can bring that to VR.
Yeah.
Just you wait.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's fun when you get a good idea, especially when it's really silly. I've already got. It's going to be like there'll be little health huts in the game, and when you go in there, there will be a nurse shark that will nurse you back to health. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I gotta ask you guys a question, because honestly, like I said before, I don't get to try as many demos and things as I would like, but I'm looking for a piece of tech. Is there any good software out there for playing just regular 3D videos through an Oculus that doesn't hinder the experience or anything like that?
What the fuck just happened? So
I'm about to get mugged, am I?
Yeah, alright.
Oh, wow.
Yo, dog.
Get in
You
the
have
van.
some, candy? Yeah.
Got some candy?
Strangers do have the best candy.
That's my new entrance.
I'm confused as to how you got this to work, Dark. What is this?
Damn it, I'm not seeing anything.
It'll give it a second to load there.
Yes. Justin, as you were asking, you mean like just like a 3D video program, like VR player, or?
Oh, VR player. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because that's really solid.
Yeah, I just need something that'll take a side-by-side 3D video and play it on a stream for people with an Oculus.
Yeah, VR player works great for that. Yeah. Especially if it's porn.
Oh yeah.
I mean, why else was I asking, right? I mean, that's
Of
a
course.
given, of course.
No,
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
No, it's good. Yeah, the nice thing about VR player too is the arrow keys. The up and down arrow keys bring the screen closer to you and farther away. So if you're not getting that effect you're looking for, you can bring it a little closer to you.
Get right up in there.
Get
yeah?
right up in there, yes.
Although, you might want to
That's what
look
she said.
into, I mean, if that's what you're doing, you may want to look into Everyday's recent 3D porn review. He's using something called, what is it, Whirligig? I think, that seemed like it had a lot of good options for side-by-side video.
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see the video yet. I heard it was pretty solid performance-wise.
What was that called again?
I think it was called Whirligig, but it's a recent video in Everyday's video series on YouTube, and I know he has all kinds of links on there, so that's probably the place to find out about that.
I love how everybody's over checking out Dark Akuma's ride.
Well, Dark, how did you? Is that another avatar?
Oh, it's a part of this avatar, just separated from it using the physics root thing that just added.
That's clever.
Like, we didn't add support for other objects. What are you doing?
I mean, I always gotta, basically hack, do everything that I can to do something that's not intended.
I'm guessing my reflections aren't coming through. I don't see any of my ref maps.
Probably in the van.
No, unfortunately not. I don't get to see the cool effects. I still think it's a badass avatar, though. I want you to fly around or jump or whatever the hell you do.
I'm surprised that I would have thought reflection maps would come through pretty easily, and shaders and stuff like that too.
I am seeing a bit of refraction in the guy above me in his eyes, but so I was surprised not to see my reflection.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Jesse, does it look like I'm driving the truck?
It looks like your nose is coming out of the window.
yeah.
Uh-oh, there goes the
I think you just ate it, dude.
Yeah, he must have changed his note there. There we go, that actually tested something that I'd never seen tested before, so. Parented physics objects do disappear. Awesome.
Awesome.
Hooray.
Yay, yay.
I'm gonna stare at the back of Bruce's head. I've always wanted to see the back of Bruce's head. Never get to see it in the stream.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Well, I've actually rearranged my room totally now, so I can do the full spinning chair action. It's serious.
Very nice.
Finally got the Kinect working with Iron Man as well. So
Kinect 1?
Cool. The Kinect, yeah, the 360 one.
How does it look good? Or I saw it, but I was never able to get all the components in order to get it to look up nicely.
What the hell? That's great.
Stealing the show.
You need some candy particles.
Wow. Pretty.
So
You need to be able to like pick people up, throw them in the van, and then kick them out of the room back to the pad.
So many particles.
So where's Zelda at?
Darkagumi, you need to make an actual literal troll avatar one of these days.
I keep on not getting around to it. I want to. Or you mean actual troll, not like troll face guy?
Yeah, like an actual troll. I think we might have a troll model somewhere we can use for you.
I can get a World of Warcraft troll easily.
Heck yeah.
My fill rate.
Now dip, baby, dip. Come on, come on.
I feel like I'm being irradiated, Olivier.
Evan H.
Yeah, look up. You'll see different colors.
Potpourri.
Hey there.
Not a whole lot. Second evening with home.
This
Glad
is
you
the
could
first
finally
time I've
make
been to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm sorry I've been so quiet here. I promise I'll be much more chatty next week. Half because of sleep, but, you know.
Sleep. What's that?
Yeah, this is still ostensibly your AMA. Justin, can you be the kingmaker that Palmer refuses to be and name some top experiences or hardware or software that you're looking forward to?
Honestly, and I heard this quite a bit at SVVR. I was pretty impressed with Sony's solution on approachability. And what I mean by that is I naturally take my glasses off when it comes time to put on a head-mounted display, and he said, oh, no, you can keep those on. I'm like, yeah, right, yeah, no, that'll never work. And I put it on, and the lens adjusts themselves, and it worked. And then I got these Move controllers, and the hand tracking, it just worked. And people could see what I was doing. It was very approachable. It's one of those things where that's kind of the difference between PC and console. Is PC has always been somewhat more capable, but console's much more approachable. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the public takes to either one. But I am genuinely looking forward to see how the competition between the Oculus and the Morpheus produces results down the road. Right now we're seeing some amazing stuff. I mean, we're all here in this VR space that, frankly, I wish I could smell the grass and flowers and stuff, but, you know, close enough. But, yeah, it's just competition grows innovation. And if it's this exciting now, I can hardly wait to see where it's going to be in 5 years. Speaking of which, how far are you, Bruce, in Sword Art Online there?
Sword Art Online as far as the series?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen all of the first one, and I just saw the episode 2 of season 2. I haven't read the manga, but yeah, I'm all up to date on the episodes.
I haven't watched the second season yet. I've been letting them build a bit, but yeah, I recall you saying on your last show that you had to go catch up on an episode or something. So if we get to that point where I can feel and smell and fly and all of that stuff, holy crap, dude! I was born slightly too early then.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun to be a senior citizen, though.
Oh yeah, they won't even stick us in a home
We
anymore.
get to look forward to retirement.
Retirement's gonna rock.
All I need is like one of those little coffin hotels there, you know, like a little cube to lay down in, and my VR headset, and strap me in.
I heard that.
So, I mean, VR has a lot of implications and a lot of possibilities. One of the first things I did years and years and years ago, I had a VFX-1 3D headset, and it was one of those, the hardware was very limited on what it could do. It required a very special type of video card and all that jazz, so I didn't keep it for very long. But I had an absolute mess of a room, absolutely terrible, and it was stressing me out like nobody's business. So I popped that thing on, and the world was low poly, low frame rate, but holy crap, it was clean and I could breathe again. I wasn't anywhere else physically, but holy crap, it really worked. I wasn't stressed anymore. It was just green. There were no textures, but yeah, I can imagine that VR itself has way more implications than just entertainment, and we're just scratching the surface on that stuff.
One of my favorite ones is the guy who's treating lazy eye with it, that like saw in 3D for the first time because of an app he wrote that amplified one eye's signal and diminished the other.
Yeah, diplopia. Amazing.
That's the other breakout game too, right?
Yeah, diplopia? Yeah, kind of.
I had a small chat with him at the very beginning of the last fall when the Proton stuff was going downhill, because he was looking for some assets and pointers on various things, but there were other things going on, so I wasn't really able to help him out all that much. So Bruce, is that the 3D scan you got at SVVR, or?
Yeah, this is the 3D scan I got at SVVR from the VR Walk guy, and Jesse was kind enough to adjust it, modify it, bring down the poly count, and make it compatible for VRChat.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make it not a bad scan.
Yeah, unfortunately, the horror was built in.
Yeah, I mean, you look like a smiling burn victim in 1080p, but that's alright.
Is Bruce named Guest?
No, that's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, Bruce is named Guest.
Okay,
Can't hear him?
Yeah, I can't.
Am I named Guest?
No,
oh no.
I can't hear him either.
We all know who you are, though.
Lighting up?
Yeah.
If you want to change your name, Bruce, you can hit the tilde key, and then it'll bring up the console, and then you can hit /FN, and then space, and then
Is
type
that
your name.
happening for anybody else?
Yeah, I'm not hearing it either.
Oh, I'm hearing fine.
Yeah, I'm hearing everybody fine too.
I think you might be a little bit too far away, Kevin.
Oh, that could be it. Now talk.
Yeah.
Nope, still nothing.
Talk, or Bruce isn't talking yet. Bruce, talk. Do it.
I think he's changing his name.
You can do it, Bruce.
It's visible on my screen.
Oh, you're
Ah,
probably...
I'm talking. I was trying to change my name.
Oh, did you hear that, Kevin?
Nope.
Can you guys hear me?
There's one.
Let the man find the tilde.
I can hear you.
Yeah, why don't you try that?
Where?
All right, yes. So what was the command for name change again? FN?
/SN for set name.
Ah, yes, okay, good.
Rev got his own avatar too.
Yeah, I felt left out. I had to go get my own stuff.
You don't like the penguin?
I still have to figure out how to rig mine.
So what kind of things are you guys interested in as far as VR, what's here, what's coming? As a developer, I'd be really interested in knowing what other people are thinking on stuff like that.
You want to give him a second to load too, Kevin?
Okay.
Okay,
I see Cyprus now instead of Guest. And
Beautiful.
Kyle is no longer a naked woman, so that's...
Oh, he
Why
is.
am I still here?
Probably live.
I don't hear you, Bruce. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, I still don't hear him either.
I'm sorry, I hear you.
Yeah, Bruce,
I hear Bruce just fine.
Will you exit and come
I can
back?
hear Bruce.
I will exit and come back.
We'll miss you.
Hold tight.
So,
okay.
What are we as developers interested in and or working on? Speaking for Team Metatron, everything, frankly. We started a data visualization project this past week. One of my team members, Additives, went to a GovHack codeathon in Australia and began something that might turn into a product one day. We've got multiple games going on. There's so many implications in education, in medicine, in design, in all of it, and I'm hopeful that this development community and the people that come after kind of explore all of it, because I think it all has implications in society and the future of humanity, really.
Yeah, for me, I'm having a hard time picking. You know, I work on one thing, I want to work on that, and I want to work on that, and so I got 6 or 7 projects, and I have to force myself not to set them all aside and focus. It's just it's exciting right now, but I'm also looking for some decent talent, honestly, because I've got some really great guys, but the ones from where I used to work, you know, they still work there, so obviously they can't help me out, and so I'm always looking for more people to work on projects, various things, but I'm holding off to make that official until I have some funding secured, because I don't like it when I have people working for free, because I feel like a jerk when I ask them to spend time on things, you know.
Luckily, I've gotten over that, personally.
Sweet, can everyone hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I had a question, Justin. So I know it's you're definitely big on the music. Proton Pulse, the music was amazing. I don't know if someone just asked or has asked this already, but yeah, how do you see sound tying into VR and enhancing the experience for your project?
Well, I told Mike here before, and I honestly believe this, that sound is half the experience of a game for me. It's really important that the way it sounds and the way it moves you is just as compelling as the way it looks and the colors and various other things. So it's a big deal to me. Right now, I see a lot of work being done on positional sound and various other techniques, so that's fantastic. And if I can close my eyes and believe I'm in the same places or they're open, then you know you've got it right. And next week, I'll be giving you guys an example of what I mean specifically on a lot of that.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
And a side note, Justin, at some point you should really do a public display, like walkthrough of your whole studio, the computer and the music production rig, because you would blow some minds on like our battle station.
You wouldn't believe how many screens are pointing at me right now. It's nuts. Not to show either. Each and every single one of them is necessary for me to get my job done.
What's the number?
See, that's the one that controls my Nintendo with a MIDI box sit, and what that does is allow me to control the music channels coming out of a modified Nintendo I've worked on. I've got another one there for modified Game Boy, but that's just the music stuff. I've only got 3 monitors for that. The computer, there's a 1080p active shutter, another 1080p PC-driven active shutter running at 120 hertz. Both of those are great for 3D production. And then I have my Thunderbolt display, my 4K display, and a standard 1080p display to handle things like Skype and messages, because I get quite a few of those while I'm working. And then, of course, we all have our Oculuses hooked up, but I don't really count those because, yeah. So if I were to count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 right now.
Damn.
That's quite a number.
Wow.
Do you experience sunburns?
That would implicate, that would suggest that I go outside.
No, from your monitors.
I sure hope not, honestly. So, have any of you guys gone through DK1 yet? I mean, my first one is completely, and my second one for that matter.
Mine's starting to see some wear and tear. It still works, but it's rough.
My screen on my first one died. So it was about 4 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I had already found a backup, but about 4 weeks ago, my screen went black on my first DK1, and I immediately went and ordered a second DK2.
Yeah, I remember last summer, Oculus requested a demo of Proton to take to Gamescom, I believe, up in Germany. And I was working with them. They had the HD prototype, and I was kind of working blind because I couldn't tell what it would look like in HD. And then suddenly my display goes out. I'm panicking like, I'm blind here. They set me up really, really quick, but it was a bit of a panic moment.
My DK1 is on its last leg. After Maker Faire, it was already kind of rough, but it's yeah, the wire's frayed in a couple places, and have to be really tender to actually get the tracking to keep working. But so far, we've got one stream left in it before I switch over to DK2.
Put it out to pasture. You should make a ceremony or a celebration or something along those lines.
A burial.
So what's an appropriate ceremony for the retirement of a DK1?
I have this laser cut Moai head that I use for a VR stand, and my first DK1 is propped up on that thing, just perched and watching over everything I do.
Awesome.
I think we should all just send our retired or broken DK1s to one person, and he can build a throne out of them.
That would be awesome. That would be amazing.
Always do Palmer's idea for the HD prototype and bury him at sea.
Yeah, but that just sounds so pedestrian. If we're gonna bury, we should bury it at sea. S or something like that.
What if we just put them all in a giant boat and set them on fire? You know.
Oh, the Viking.
Viking style. You know, someone could shoot an epic arrow, and then you know, they go up in smoke.
That would be a nasty smoke, though. Eh?
Oh, it would be the most horrible smoke.
No, I was tempted to take one of these apart just so I could have a small display to put my Skype messages and various other things that constantly come in on something much smaller and closer, so I could just get it, you know.
Just a teeny monitor? That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you go online and you look for a small 7 or 9 inch screen, and they cost more than double than your 19 or 24 incher. So it's crazy. I've got all these small screens that are capable surrounding me everywhere, so might as well just use one of those.
Probably be cheaper just to get a tablet.
So how do you guys store your VR headsets? Do you just put it on your desk, or do you have a stand, or is there anything, any process you go about keeping it out of harm's way?
I have mine on a styrofoam head that I bought at a craft store.
For me, it's just set on the desk. Like, I have so much stuff that it's a little section I have where I place it. I mean, there's so many things. My space is so cluttered. I think I might look into a different or better computer desk and maybe think of another solution, because yeah, it's crowded with stuff right now.
I have a ceramic skull I usually put mine on.
Awesome.
Mine's on my desk, but never face down. I always leave it
In case of sunlight, right?
Or dust. I mean, I just don't want dust falling in it either.
Yeah. I don't believe that Articulite lost 2 rifts that way from sunlight.
Well, he is in Hawaii. There's more sun out there, you know.
Oh, that all of the sun.
He's just a monster.
Humidity.
Man, I could imagine putting that thing on, like, yeah, let's get into some VR. What's going on? That would hurt. I would feel that.
Oh, I should do that with my Google cardboard. I should put it out in the sun, see how long it takes to set on fire. On video, of course.
Should I support the Google Box thing? Or?
I am.
It's a Durovis dive, basically. I mean, it's
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's great. I mean, it makes it accessible to people, and I think that's always good. And if people get a decent experience for something that's like $30, then I mean, hopefully it'll lead to them being like, oh man, then the Oculus must be so awesome. If this $30 thing can you know, make me feel whatever, then that Oculus Rift must be super sweet.
So let's have a serious discussion here real fast. So Kickstarter is very common for indie developers to get games off the ground. That's been used quite a bit. But there's that fine line between a very, very small scale game and a much more production heavy, larger scale game. Where do you guys think is the cap for a VR title as far as investment goes on Kickstarter and crowdfunding? Basically what I'm saying is VR taken serious enough at this point that it's even good for a studio that's 100% dedicated to VR to really be looking towards crowdsource funding at this point?
It's about
Blair got 60 grand for Technolust, and that, I mean, it stops being laughable at that point. I mean, that's okay for a micro studio to put a title together.
Well, I mean, if you look at a game like Shovel Knight or Shantae Hero, those are very small pixel 2D platformers with a lot of heart, but the bare minimum are $250,000 just to get the game off the ground.
And note
the problem
that
right now is just that there's not very many actual sets out. Like once CV1 comes out, then
Yeah, of course.
I mean, certainly that'll be a lot more feasible. But I think right now, just with dev kits alone, there's not really enough people that will be able to play it and enjoy it until that point comes out.
See, that puts us at a weird position because we got to get our stuff out preferably before the AAA studios do. So we can't really wait for the install base. But at the same time, we have to be taken seriously. We have to. Yes, this is a real platform, and it's not going to go anywhere. And all of us are somewhat responsible of putting the best foot forward to some degree on public perception. So it's one of those things that I've been struggling with when I'm building a team for a game. I have to take in consideration how big can I get a team to go before it goes underwater on itself. So there's that fine line that's ever changing that we'll have to figure it out for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, timing is everything right now, and I think it's going to be really interesting, seeing because it's like you said, you want to get out there as fast as you can, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some people that get out a little bit too early with amazing games, and maybe they'll take off after CV1 comes out, and maybe someone will hit it perfectly. Some people will hit it too late, and not get the recognition that they do, because there'll be the whole cell phone problem where everyone's like, oh, dollar signs, so I'm gonna jump in.
I think the two data points that are most interesting there are technolust, like Bruce said, because I think, what did he ask for, like 30, and he got 60? And that's basically just Unity assets. That's a thing that a very small studio is going to be able to pull off. Something like Oculus Maximus is the other data point that you should pay attention to, because that was a very interesting concept. Maybe it was a little rough around the edges in its demo form, but you could definitely see how that could be an amazing experience. And they said, okay, we have cushy jobs right now, and we don't want to give them up unless we can do this right. We need $250,000, which isn't even that much to produce a game of that scale. And they got laughed out of even the VR community for asking for that amount of money. It really is this kind of catch-22 where all you can do is make a scaled-down game as your launch title and try to use that as a foothold to further success, or build something just a little bit more ambitious and basically just pay people in equity.
Yeah, I think that's the most safe way to go about it right now. I think if I was going to do something like that, or do a VR project, I think that I would probably go for that type of plan.
It seems to me like, from the VR projects I've seen so far that have been successful on Kickstarter, they've either had like the street cred of the developer making it, like they've had someone that was there from the beginning or had something that was out there successful already, or they kind of rode the momentum of their demo releasing and being pretty well received. Like Technolust, for example, like he released his demo, a lot of YouTubers latched onto it, a lot of positive feedback, and he just like wrote it, like kept writing it out, right? And that was successful, and it was like great, like and you take a title like Spectre, which also had a successful Kickstarter, but they kind of skinned their teeth. But definitely they had to put themselves out there quite a bit. And I mean, he got, Spectre Seekers was in the finalists for the VR Jam, but they didn't have a publicly released demo, so the community wasn't really, they were like, do we know these guys, do we not? So it was a more of an uphill battle. I think in your case, like, Proton Pulse is a pretty well-known title, like, community has that community cred, so rallying the troops, as it were, to get behind you is probably not going to be as hard, but still, like, reaching a number in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think is still going to be a challenge at this point, because you're really limited to the VR community and the people that actually have lifts or got DK2s, and hoping that they're paying attention within that 30 or 60 day window that you're running your Kickstarter. And that's also too where like there's lots of people that are like, oh, I didn't hear about that. I would have pledged, but I mean, you know, like it's all scattered. There's not any one way to reach everyone right now. Like everyone's not checking the subreddit or checking the Oculus dev forums. It's like everything's so scattered, as opposed to the the Kickstarters that actually went off, like like Gallery 6 Elements, when it happened right after the Oculus Kickstarter, and everyone was really dying for news, and you had a lot of captive audience there. I don't know. I think it might be tough to talk about 150, 200, $250,000.
Yeah, no, I just went there, Bruce, to look at the final number, $82 and $900. So if you ask for $100,000 even now, like a year later, I don't think you'd get it. I think you could have the most credit in the entire community and get everyone behind you. It's just a matter of there not being enough people who want VR-specific stuff right now, and there won't be until we have a few million Rifts out in the wild.
So the question is, how do you get people who are not VR savvy? But I mean, I see this quite a bit where there's people who are interested in VR, they just don't know about it. How do you catch their attention? And that's really the big question overall, is how can you get them something they can try, they can understand without having a headset yet, but promising them when the day comes when it's readily available for everybody, this will be here for you and you will enjoy it.
So that's something that I've struggled with myself, is if I'm going to produce a game that I'm going to not make any money on, how do I get people to rally behind me? I don't have to worry about that because it's free, but if I wanted to charge people for it, then I need to get it out to as many people as possible. And one of the things that I would do would be to make it be compatible with as many platforms as possible in terms of playability, so PC, Mac, Linux, mobile, Android, iOS. So suddenly you can have a game that can be played with or without your VR headsets, or you could do it on your mobile devices with the Dive or the Google Cardboard. Bigger audience means bigger people willing to pay you money if that's the route you go.
Yeah, I think cardboard is probably something to hop on, because there's probably a lot of people that have cardboard now that are going to be looking for things to do with it. So that might be an audience to tap into. I think the other way is to do what James did over at Pixel Router when he just showed up with his computer at PAX. And he ended up, having a non-stop line of demos for people to play Rift Wars at the time, what it was called. But like, it's still at a stage where, I mean, a DK1 is so hard to come by. So, I mean, you can go to a place that's like, I don't know, like a PAX or like a anime convention or comic book convention, game convention, that type of thing. And try to set up your rig and have people try and like build word of mouth that way. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to actually get some exposure besides rallying around what people are excited about already.
Yeah, and then showing people what it is to be in VR without actually them having VR is one of those things where any one of us can show screenshots and there's no way to convey what the experience is.
Yeah, I think that's the big struggle, right? It's so experiential. Like, there's no way to really. I mean, it could be described, and I mean, even with my streams and my videos I've made, that's kind of the point of what I'm doing, is try to share the experience and give some information about this is what the experience is like. But even so, there's still people out there that, they're looking at whatever's on screen, and they're just not going to be moved until they get it on their face. And I don't know. That's a tough question.
Yeah, you definitely have to try it. Yeah, you can't just show it to somebody and say, okay, here's, you'd almost be better off taking a ViewMaster and lobbing off the back of it and sticking your phone in front of it. That's a $5 solution to give them at least some remote idea. So that's where things like Cardboard and the Dive and things like that actually do benefit the community in general, because they're at least giving a small flavor at a small price to the masses.
What kind of lenses are in the cardboard?
They are the exact same lenses that are in the Dive. So it's a 40 millimeter. They're actually decent lenses, actually.
Also, I really do believe that like the experiences from VR are going to be so compelling and so new and fresh that people have really been craving this kind of experience for a long time. So I think the power of word of mouth with anything that is remotely good on launch date is going to be more than enough to compel people to really buy, fork over 400, 500 bucks, whatever, in order to have this incredible experience. I mean, I really think that the release market is going to be anybody with a PC powerful enough to run the stuff, because chances are those people are willing to pay a little bit higher price for premium, excellent experiences.
Also, I think a unique opportunity might be to do like game trailers that are formatted to work with hardboard or something similar. Like, everyone that's in your target demo is going to have a smartphone. So if they have a cheap way to actually make that smartphone into a VR viewing device, if they can even just view a trailer of your game or what your experience offers, or maybe the whole Kickstarter video is formatted to work in cardboard, I would say that would be something probably worth pursuing, because then you have like a wide audience of people with like smartphones or something that are going to be able to at least get a taste of what you're offering.
Yeah,
yep, I agree with that.
Advice, especially because that won't force you to compromise the quality of your experience too.
Does anybody here have the cardboard setup?
Oh, I do.
I haven't got one yet. I think I'm going to order one or get a hold of one or build one or something.
If you just order one, get the lenses, order one, don't build it.
I've tried to build something in cardboard before with like the extra, like I have B lenses I don't use, so I was like, I'll slap something together. No, it works out horribly.
Yeah, just get a kit. Yeah. Well, and I've been building a game now for a couple weeks, and I'm building it with the intention of it being primarily consumed by mobile VR. The fact that it also works on the PC with the Oculus Rift and soon to be the K2, that's an added bonus. But by designing for mobile and then taking that and putting that on the PC, you get a really, really one-to-one experience. So the gameplay is the same on both because it's already optimized for mobile. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to design for the PC and then go, oh, as an afterthought, let's see what it looks like on Android. And they're going to be horrified at what they need to do to scale back to make it work.
So I'll let you guys in on something. I mean, I've been working primarily on portable devices, so Proton Pulse currently runs 100% on mobile hardware. It's crazy.
Awesome.
There you go.
So you're already on that boat then, Justin. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I mean, we all got hints from Oculus in the early days from John Carmack, so I've always had that in consideration. There's just so many rumors flying around on and various other platforms that are targeting mobile, and it is enticing. I won't have a wire to worry about and all this other stuff. As mobile hardware gets better and better, it's just going to be more and more compelling, even more so than even hooking up to a PC, because there's just booting up the OS, finding it, putting on your headset, versus just putting it on and you're good to go. So.
Yeah, but I think we're alone. I don't think there's a lot of people that are thinking that same process. I mean, there might be. I bet there's less than a handful of people who are thinking, okay, I have to be able to support mobile in order for my game to be successful. I just don't see that. I don't hear that a lot.
The other benefit of designing using mobile as the lowest common denominator is that for when you port it over to the PC, people with lower end spec PCs can get a good experience at a high frame rate.
Yep, that's a very happy side effect. Exactly.
I think it's there's a lot of pros, but I think a big drawback is the input solution. Like recently I've been trying to get to a point where I can make some Joudrey dive, like videos like with capture and everything, and trying to get a hold of a controller that actually works well has been more of a struggle than I ever anticipated. Like I got one of those Moga controllers, and like if you don't have your device rooted, it sucks. Like it only works with Moga, quote unquote apps that they have on their store. And then I ordered an iPega controller, and like plugging in the PlayStation 3 controller kind of worked, but kind of didn't, and it doesn't pair really well if it's not rooted. So like, have you heard of like any controller solutions, or I mean, what are people thinking about, or are you
so? So actually, go ahead, Justin. You go first.
I'm a huge fan of the DualShock 4, and what's coming down the road for that. I mean, its compatibility with various things out of the box is crazy for PC, Mac, and so forth. But as far as controls go, I mean, you guys are somewhat aware that I try to make gear my experiences not require controllers at all for that very reason, because everybody has a slightly different approach, different operating system, what have you. And so, I mean, the only strong place to be for control input right now is in Sony's camp, because it's a guarantee.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, in terms of like my game, Project Taurus uses one button. It only needs one button for all the controls, and over the course of me and several folks, actually a few of them here, testing, we've determined that any Bluetooth controller, OTG cable with whatever controller you want to plug into it. I've been using a Nyko gamepad that I got at E3, which is a Bluetooth controller, does not require root. They all work. All you need is one button, and it doesn't matter which button it is. The game is set to fire one, so whatever that is on the controller, boom, you're ready to go. I'm almost to the point, I kind of want to just plug a mouse in to the OTG cable and put it on and see if the mouse button would work.
I did some tests with Proton Pulse. I don't think any of these made it in the demos that were publicly released, but I always start off with a calibration scene in Unity so people can be centered and all that stuff. And I put on the screen, you can press this button or whatever, but I also allow for a tap on the side of the Oculus, and I look for a spike on the x-axis and the gyro, and I register that as an input as well, and that comes in handy. It works pretty well.
Well, and what Google Cardboard does is ingenious, actually. They've got two magnets, and when you flick one of them down on the side, it actually registers as a change in the magnetometer, which registers in their software as a mouse click. And so I'm going to try to find a way to integrate that into Unity somehow so that I can have that also work on Google Cardboard. I think that'll be my click that I'll need on my game.
Oh man, I just realized I need to go run off and build basically a button that you tape onto the side of your Rift and plugs into the top USB port of a DK2.
Just a button. There you go.
Nice.
Well, there is actually another input method on the DK2. You can literally swipe your hand in front of, which kind of messes up the tracking a little bit, but you can register that. You can pick that up.
Interesting.
Oh. Using occlusion as an input. That's pretty clever.
But you didn't hear that from me. I don't have a DK2. I'm just, yeah, sure.
Yeah, rumors abound.
I love it.
I'm going to try standing up to see how my perspective changes in here. Hold on just a sec.
See, I'm so disappointed your avatar didn't just go shooting up into the sky.
So we've been worrying about that, like how to handle that for a little while. I can't wait to get my DK2 and actually put it to test.
Yeah, I can turn around and see my character.
Ah, that's funny.
That's insane.
Just standing up makes a hell of a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a bit. Although I feel somewhat tethered.
Yeah, it's really different when you're like using a dive or something wireless. Stefan is actually in the States, and we hung out, and he showed me Quake, and standing up on Quake was actually quite cool. And it was actually physically turning your body instead of like using an analog stick or something to turn. Like it's physically turning where you're looking, turning your entire body to turn in the game, and it worked out very, very well, and felt pretty comfortable. So
I prefer playing dive games standing.
Yeah, me
Totally.
too. Except for Project Taurus, right, Bob?
Yes, that requires a
Spinning chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually went to one of the dive guys, and maybe I was mistaken on something like that, but I informed one of them that, hey, I have Proton running on hardware that would run on this hardware right away, but they didn't know what I was talking about at the time, so I wasn't able to set that up.
You may, Justin, want to go after Ed Mason with Game Face. He will probably want to talk to you, maybe.
Yeah, we built a version of VRChat for Ed, just so that he could share this, and he was a good partner to work with.
yeah, I would agree. And Mason is great, and I think with dive, I think it's just a matter of like Stefan and some of the guys over there just were not aware. Like some of the conversations we had at SCVR and after, and he was just really surprised at some of the use cases that we were even talking about for the dive. Like, really, you watch movies with it? And we're like, yes, Stefan, yes, we do. We watch movies with it, and it's great. That's probably should be your primary use case.
But we do on the plane.
It's funny that they don't know what they've got. That's hilarious. But I think they've gotten a little bit wiser, at least recently.
Yeah, he's been connecting more with the community, and I think it's probably a good to approach. And Stefan particularly, like he's definitely a guy that'll be pretty open.
Oh yeah, no, he's a wonderful guy to talk to.
Hey guys, I got a meeting with called Programming Night, and I'm supposed to go head over there and cause a ruckus. So I got to take off here pretty soon, but I'm hoping to catch up with all of you here within the next week. So
Awesome.
It's been an honor here. This has been fantastic.
Heck yeah,
man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, man. I appreciate it.
I might have to come back with a custom room too.
Thanks,
that
Justin.
would be fun.
Oh yes.
Please do.
It's very easy to set up.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to get this avatar set up real fast, so kudos to whoever set up all of that stuff.
Jesse!
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah, because I would have no idea how to set up custom avatars. That's out of my league.
I've been in Unity for 5 or 6 years, something like that now. So, yep.
Awesome.
All right, well, I'll be signing off. I'll see you guys.
Awesome.
Take care.
Take care.
All right.